Hey, Nigerian XTW Speaks here, otherwise known as Chigo. How are you? I hope you are doing well. I hope you've had a good week. Welcome. If you're first time here, hi, hello, great to see you here. If you are returning, hi fam, thanks for coming back. So, today, what I wanted to talk about, I am thinking finances, I'm thinking money, I'm thinking about all of the ways that Watchtower acts as a ruthless business. Now, a lot of these things that I'm going to cover, if you are coming up straight up saying you're a business, some of them are absolutely fine. Now, the problem is when you're claiming to be the one true organization of the creator of the universe, the standards is going to be different. You know, if you're claiming to be God's one true channel, then, you know, some of these things don't add up. If you're a business, just say you are. And I think myself and perhaps a lot of other people now that have left may share the same view that this is just a business. This is just a business, point blank simple. And if they would just come up straight away and say that that's what they are, that might just be too honest. But I just want to run through some things. Some of the ways they hold on to wealth, some of the ways they acquire it, that's questionable. And then we are going to touch on the Australian redress scheme, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the update sort of in the last week. So I'm going to finish on that to start with. So if you like what you hear, go ahead and subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. I'm going to jump straight in. I'm trying to get better with my intros so they're not too long. Okay, so I'm going to go way back. Try not to date myself here, but I remember when we used to sell the articles, I seem to recall a time when they went for 15 naira. So the Watchtower and the Awake magazines, obviously growing up in Nigeria, the currency is naira. So it was 15 naira. I used to go out and sell them for that price. And so one of the first things that the organization latched on, especially in the late 1800s when it was founded with Charles Stills Russell, they really did latch on to, I guess, what was the up-and-coming technology of the time. They had things like the photo drama of creation that they sold tickets for people to see. Recordings, is it called gramophone, where they would have these recordings play out quite loud, and then it was the printed literature, which I met also to my time. That was sort of one of the first ways that they were raking in an income. And I guess in some ways that was a bit more straightforward. It was an exchange of goods and services. And what that reminds me of is MLMs, where you're buying products from the manufacturer. So essentially the members, we are the MLM members. So we'll buy these goods and we'll go sell them door to door. Essentially, I guess that was a bit more straightforward. Now, of course, you know, that sort of died down. I remember the excitement and how proud people felt when it became, when things changed and it was a case of donating what you felt like. I know how much people back then, you know, really made a big deal of it, that, you know, see, we don't, people are not stopped from getting the literature because they didn't have a certain amount. You could contribute whatever you felt like it, whatever you were able to. And I remember that was a big deal. But even then, people would get funny looks if they contributed something that was quote unquote very small. But I remember when that started. But that was, I guess, their first money-making racket. Quite close on to that as well is the free labor. I got some notes, that's why I might be looking down sometimes. Free labor for their buildings, so building their kingdom halls, branch facilities, headquarters, just free labor. People using their skills that they've gotten on their own outside. Organization had nothing to do with it. Let me pull this down in case it touches the mic. So that free labor really getting their foot into the property market there. And in some ways, that is probably still their main thing right now. They're a huge real estate corporation. We are talking billions of dollars. A sale, some sales that they made maybe a few years ago now. This is just a set of property in the US, close to £1 billion for just a few properties. So if we're talking on a global scale, we are talking billions and billions of dollars. Huge real estate corporation right now, and a lot of that built using free labor. I put some note here, and also the way they sort of build them as well these days. At least they build them in a way where they're easy to flip. they're easy to sell back out. So it's very, very sort of bog standard, not to customize. They build them in a way that they can easily be converted into commercial property, but they are huge in real estate. A lot of that coming from free labor, free manpower. That is just taking advantage. Yes, I know that people volunteer for this, but we know how much coercion, how much is being talked about, how much pressure there is for people to give their time for absolutely nothing. And that's the thing. When instead of coming out straight and being a business, when you claim to represent the creator of the universe, when you say that they're doing this for Jehovah rather than for the leadership, you're more likely to get people volunteer the time that they could be using to do something for themselves, but they're giving it to them, thinking they're giving it to the creator of the universe. What we have, what we see, what we have proof of is a corporation, a ruthless business. The other thing that sort of linked to that as well, so it's not just the free labor of building it, there's also the free labor of people who work there. I remember seeing a lot of the videos they made early on where there was this obsession with showing the printing press and all the people working the production lines, tons and tons of people working there, helping to print stuff. Those people, from what I understand, someone please jump in and correct me. Yes, I know that a lot of the time they get lodging, so they have somewhere to stay, they are fed, they get a stipend, which in the real world, it's not comparable. I think it was JT from JW Critical Thinking was saying how people that have lived in Bethel for decades, when they had the mass clear out, essentially kicking people out that have given their lives, spent their lives, they come out and realize there's been nothing paid into their pension pot for the decades that they've been there working. So you have people that nothing's been contributed into their retirement funds. They are working for a stipend, and that is how they keep things running. So it's like free labor upon free labor upon not enough pay. This is a corporation. This is a business. This is a business that is taking every opportunity to not spend money, to not pay people when it needs to be, and you're claiming to be the representative of God. That is the deceit. That is the deception. Moving on to the next point, which a lot of us will be familiar with, then we have the donations. Donations, which, as we know, things have changed. It was Charles Taze Russell. Now, I don't have the exact words, but something to do with whenever Jehovah doesn't see fit to fund his work, then that would be a hint for him that it's all over, but that he would never ask for funds, he will never beg, he will never ask. Well, we have seen begging. Stephen Lett begging on camera, coercing children to give their ice cream money. You know, donations. And again, it goes back to they're not coming out straight to say this is what they are. They call it giving to Jehovah. They quote Malachi, I don't know what, Malachi 3:10 or some verse like that, where it says something to the effect of give to Jehovah, open up your storehouses, and you know, it's like prosperity gospel essentially. Jehovah loves a cheerful giver. You know, there is pressure to give, there is pressure to donate, and that is a huge money-making racket. Again, okay, I don't know what happened to my video there. It seemed to cut me off. Let's try again. I hope it doesn't cut me off again. Okay, the next thing is setting up multiple corporations. So I have lost count of how many different corporations they have now. You have the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. You have Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania. They have all of these different corporations. We know why they do that. It's to manage liability. When someone has a reason to sue them for something, they can say, no, it's just this group. We can protect the rest of it. Or it's just this group. We can only sue this group. Which again, as a business, yes. As God's one true religion, what are you hiding? Why are you ducking and diving? So they have all these multiple corporations, and I know that they've tried to use that in some of their CSA court cases where they've said, oh, you can sue this group, but not this group. It's all business ruthless behavior. Moving on then, tax loopholes. Actually, I'm going to skip past this one because I'm going to come back to it as I wrap up with the Australian Royal Commission. So I'm going to skip on to taking over mortgages from congregations and getting them into unending debt. So as you may know, a few years ago, they made the announcement that congregations who owed them loans for their kingdom halls, they no longer had to have a mortgage per se. They would buy it from them, and then whatever money they were paying towards that, they can contribute that to the organization instead. But rather than with the mortgages from the banks and the lenders, that would have been for a fixed term and it will be paid off. Now there's no end date. You just keep paying. And we know that there were kingdom halls that were sold and congregations merged. And guess where that money went to? Not the congregation, not the people who raised the funds for it. It went to the pockets of Watchtower. So we've gone from free labor to build these things, free labor working somewhere, and now when they sell some of these facilities as well, the money goes to them. And so that was, I think, there's some really good videos on that. I think it's Lloyd Evans has, I think it's called Unrighteous Riches, something like that. I think that sort of really breaks it down. But essentially, these congregations go from having a debt that they know when it's going to be paid off to it's never ending. Just keep contributing the same thing. And if you're unlucky enough, yours gets sold completely, and then you have to travel further to get to where you want to. Again, from a business point of view, well, that's how business can be ruthless. Or say that's what you are. Just admit that that is what you are. And then finally, this one, I didn't get a chance to look into it so much, but when people go for international conventions, international delegates, I've heard the fees for that are pretty steep. You know, because you are sort of steered in one direction in terms of what hotels to stay in, what you get to spend for food and things like while you're out there, as well as the cost to actually be there. So I don't know, of course, maybe not so much now with, you know, the situation, the global situation that we're in, and but that was quite a money-making thing, that where people are paying you to come get a spiritual food that their life supposedly depends on. I mean, straight away, not everybody can afford that. So that's a whole other subject. You know, why are some people able to get it and why some people are not? But you're making money off that. You're getting a profit margin. It's crazy. From a business perspective, absolutely fine. Because when companies hold conferences, business conferences, training sessions, they can ask you to pay for them. You know, it's what it is. But just admit that that's what you are, a business. How about that? Okay, so I'm going to wrap up with the last point and go into the Australian redress scheme there. So another way they hold on to money, like a ruthless business, is taking advantage of every tax loophole. So in most places, they identify themselves as a charity, even though I don't know of any actual overall charitable work that they do. When things occur, a lot of the times the people they're helping are their own members. It's not the general public at large. But that charity status, they hold on to it. They hold on to it so tight. And we just found out not that long ago how far they'll go to hold on to that. Which leads me to the redress scheme in Australia, which they put out a statement to join because their tax exempt status was threatened. And suddenly the tune changed. I am going to read their statement word for word. Flipping frustrating. Very annoying. And I hope this doesn't cut me off. So here's their statement. Jehovah's Witnesses did not voluntarily join because we object to the assertion that the JW religion assumes responsibility for children. Our objection is based on the fact that the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses does not and has not sponsored any activities that have resulted in children being under its care, custody, supervision, control, or authority. I'm going to pause there. Oh. Woo. That is very familiar semantics. This organization likes to play word games. They like to play with words. They like to play games with words. What do you mean you've never had children under your care, custody, supervision, control, or authority? What do you call the children that are coming to your meetings day in, day out? Oh, it's their parents, of course. Their parents that are under your control? The parents that are told what they can wear, what they can watch, where they can go to. Their children are not under your authority and control? When parents feel comfortable sending their teenage children, and I'm talking young teens here, using myself as an example, when parents send their 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds to go join the meeting for field service, and they get paired with someone else, whose agenda is being pushed out there? Is it not yours? Literally, if I go back to the time that I was a child, whose literature was being sold out there? Was that not yours? The word games is so annoying. The last part of that, so it says, now the law requires charities to join the scheme. Jehovah's Witnesses will comply. Well, it's not just charities though. I can see that that's how they're going to sell it to their members. It's now a government requirement for charity. No, it's not just any charities though. It's the ones that have been found to be lacking in their child protection policies. It's the ones that have been found wanting in their policies. And don't even get me started on how wanting you were found. The last bit of that, Jehovah's Witnesses believe it is their responsibility before God to respect and cooperate with authority. I can just see that Bible verse in Acts that they use, Caesar's thing to Caesar, God's thing to God. Yeah, what happened between last year and now when you were asked nicely to join the scheme? You were trying not to, and then your tax exempt status was in jeopardy, and suddenly you realize, oh no, okay, it is our responsibility. Charities, no, you've been found wanting heavily. You've been found to not only cover it, you have policies that make it a safe place for monsters to act. That's what. Okay, I don't know if this is going to cut me off, but that is so, that was their statement. So I guess they've done the maths. It's going to cost them less to join the redress scheme, they think, than to lose their tax exempt status. Honestly, they need to lose that thing everywhere. Because they're a business. They operate like a business. They're a business. That's what they are. It's, okay, that last point really riled me up. It really riled me up. The word games. You haven't sponsored any activities that have resulted in children being under its care, custody, supervision, control, or authority. There are very few groups more high control than this. Very few. If somebody can dangle the loss of your family and everyone you love in front of you, what other sort of control? If someone can make you decide that it's better to die than to accept certain kinds of treatment, how much other control can they have? That is the ultimate control, when someone's willing to put their life in your hands because you claim to represent God on earth. And you turn around and say you have... Okay, I'm going to calm down. You get the point. You get the point. So let's see what happens. This is how they're going to try and spin this for their members, that it's now a requirement for all charities. No, it isn't. It's for the ones that have been found wanting, the ones that have been found not to offer sufficient protection for children. And if you need a reminder, watch the videos from the Australian Royal Commission. Absolutely atrocious performance. Just people that just have no concept, no understanding of what child protection is, of what their responsibilities are. It's just completely clueless, honestly. So let's see. It's a shame that it's gotten to this point, and I think that was the comment as well from the body, that it's a shame that it's taking this long for them to just do the right thing, and so people that have made claims on them have had to wait this long before they can get any sort of support that they need. They've just dragged it out until their pockets were on the line, and they're gonna twist this somehow. I don't know what it's gonna take. Witnesses in Australia, honestly, can you see this? Can you see this? I don't know how someone can stay in having this much information. I don't know. But, you know, we'll all get there when we get there. That was my thought. I probably shouldn't have finished on that point, but that's riled me up. This organization just has just new ways to show how disgusting and selfish they are. And if you're questioning, if you are wondering if you're crazy for wanting to leave, no, you're not. No, you're not. This is a business. This is a business. It's run like a business. It operates like a business. The focus is on profit and accumulating wealth. It doesn't matter who gets hurt in the way, whether it's children with their ice cream money or people who could be using their time to make more for themselves and their families, whether it's people that are not going to have a retirement fund. They don't care. They don't care at what expense. They keep the business going. That's what this is. That's me done. I want to hear your thoughts. I don't think I've been this riled up in a video for a while. I'm going to try and edit this somehow so I don't sound completely crazy. But yeah, let me know if you disagree or if you have anything to add to that. By all means, put it in the comments below. Subscribe and like if you haven't. And look after yourself. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pen. From a business point, from a business